Go ahead.
Who's watching?
Who's watching? Anybody want to talk directly about that?
Well, one key group that's watching, other than activists and supporters, is the media. One amazing thing to watch is how, for a long time, when you produce these web videos, a lot of people say, "Oh, the quality's lousy, nobody will watch it," and but now I think a day doesn't go by when we don't see CNN, MS, or Fox, or somebody do a story where the video is actually a capture of something that's happening on the web. In other words, YouTube has become a video PR newswire where you can push your story out and have a decent chance of getting, well, not a decent chance, but may get your video picked up by broadcast. Phil knows a little something about that. In fact, thanks to Phil, that was the first time I think Politics TV got on CNN because Phil was good enough to give us his first on-camera interview along with YouTube. So that the fact that the media is watching and using online video is a huge, huge piece of this. And I think, in fact, in the future, well, in the present actually, you'll be seeing a lot of this content that's going up on the web for watching can also be sent by fiber or what have you as a video press release. That's actually how what Jeff was talking about, how they feed out ads by a fiber network and so forth. So media is a key audience.
I mean, the other thing is it lives on forever. I mean, you have a niche audience. The whole long tail concept is before you had the whole head of the curve where you had everybody and you had, you know, what cable basically is or broadcast television before cable. But now with smaller niche audiences, you can keep that content out there for a longer time and actually reach people and make it relevant.
Do you want to just explain a little bit about the long tail for people who don't explain?
Sure. I mean, real roughly, the concept is that at one time you were limited in what your viewing options were. I mean, at one time there were 4 networks, but now there can be, and you had to aggregate advertising dollars to make that profitable for it to work. But now, for instance, if like my daughter plays field hockey, and you never really would have had a field hockey channel, but with the with the internet now, you could actually aggregate an audience of field hockey advocates who are really interested in watching that, and it actually can be profitable because you're able to take that content and now reach that audience that you'd never be able to reach before.
Just one more thought on the audiences. You never know who the audience is going to be. I think, Karina, that was part of your point with the GSA hearings going so big. On our YouTube channel, I think our second biggest video, David, was a video we did at the Heritage Foundation. And we are a progressive-leaning channel, and yet we went to cover the Heritage Foundation, and it's gotten 250,000 views. And lots of those are, the majority of those are conservatives.
47 minutes long.
Yeah, and we would not have guessed that. We did a video recently, our Top 10 show, where we made reference to Tony Blair and Labour UK doing Labour Vision on YouTube. And I made reference to the first time a head of state is doing a regular thing, and somebody in Britain, corrected me. Said, "No, the Queen is head of state. Tony Blair is just his minister." And I could hear Helen Mirren. So you never know. It's really amazing where your audience pops up.
I think part of it for us too is we obviously want to have it out there to show what we're doing, but you find new audiences based on what you put out. I mean, we do a podcast from some of the speakers' audio files, and she referenced the Rolling Stones once because she was going to watch a Rolling Stones concert. And that podcast, even though it was with regards to, I think, the budget, ended up being downloaded far too much because it had the Rolling Stones tagging. So that's another element that we didn't really talk about, but the tagging on YouTube videos and the tagging of your sites is incredibly important in terms of people being able to find your...
Does everyone? Do you want to just say a bit more about the tagging, or do you want someone else wants to say? Because I don't know if that's totally clear what that is.
Yeah, I could say something a little bit. Yeah, well,
the magic of what you're looking for there.
Yeah, well, actually, I think on YouTube it's not as developed yet as it is just because the way that you tag on there, you can only have single words. It's really important, I think, like on blogs, like with Daily Kos, there's some certain tags. I worked at an organization, Walmart Watch. It was a watchdog group. So the way you'd find people blogging on Walmart on Daily Kos is if they use that tag. I think the tagging will be more important with videos. it's actually kind of hard to search on YouTube right now, but I think they're working on that, and I'll make it better. Now you really just find videos by seeing it posted on blogs, or if it happens to wind up on the most popular list.
But it's just a little category. It's just a little descriptor and category that you put in there that then allows people to find your video.
But it's worth noting, I'm just saying, is that it isn't like there's only 10 categories and you click on the one. You actually can create whatever tag you want. And so part of the art of getting picked up by people who you don't expect to is to think, well, what is something in that video that might draw somebody else's interest? And so there's a kind of art to tagging, which is something I think people have to start thinking about.